My name's Catherine, and this is an introduction to my Introduction to Therapeutic Alliance, which again is an introduction to the training, but it's just going to be a couple of minutes long because the video that I've posted is 1 hour and 40 minutes. So I thought I'd give you more of an idea of what we cover so you know whether it's something you'd be interested in. So Therapeutic Alliance, it's basically everything that's not an intervention or what we're doing. It's about how we do it. So there's lots of, my sort of baseline is it's not what you do, it's the way that you do it. It's looking at who we are as a person while we're working with people. It's in 3 sections. The first section, we're going to actually look at the overwhelming research that the relationship is the most important thing in the work we do. If we don't get that right, other things are going to be harder, or they're just not going to work, or we're not really helping people. So we're going to look at the research, and my favourite research ever in there, so you'll have to watch if you want to find that. We're also going to look at an overview of what it is, the sort of skills that are involved. We're going to look at, because it's about creating safety, what exactly does that mean? It's very easy to say be empathic and non-judgmental, but what does that mean with everybody? Do we get it right? Because sometimes I think, we might genuinely feel that we're caring and we're trustworthy, but there's unconscious things, signals that we're sending out that just jar with someone that we're not aware of. So sometimes it's just about examining, is there anything, what's trust criteria, what's different for different people. We all have different ideas of what we trust and what we don't. So we're going to look at that. So we'll look at how to create safety and the sort of things that get in the way in the first section. The middle section is going to be a little bit more practical, but we're going to look at trauma. So how trauma affects people, how it affects their ability to feel safe, and the extra that we need to do for that. So when we're working with people who have had trauma, which, if you're working with vulnerable adults, it's probably everybody, but how we can also make them feel safe and not re-traumatise them. Looking specifically at people we find difficult, and I've got a lovely exercise that I've been using for years and use with clients, use with workers, around identifying who are the people we find difficult and how we can work with that. Because it's about, our job's tough, there's lots of suffering, there's lots of clients that have behaviours that we struggle with. How do we cope with that behaviour without making them feel bad and be able to connect with the person behind, but also without causing difficulties for ourselves? So it's all about sort of looking at that and the reality of this work. The third section is all about self-care. So we're going to look at, and I know in the past self-care I was like, don't need it, it's not relevant. I've now realised it's actually the most important thing that we do to create a relationship. If we're stressed, if we're not at our best, it affects the work that we do with people and the way that they feel as well. So we're going to look at that, what I call proactive self-care. So we're going to look at how it's not waiting until you feel depleted or your energy's dropping to do it. It's doing it before that so that your energy is high enough to keep you going. We're also going to look at how to be our best, how to be our natural best. So it's not about working hard and doing more. Most of us that are working, we've got too much work for the time that we've got. So it's really important that we find our style, the thing that's natural for us to work. And part of it's personality, part of it's using our unique skills, managing our time a little bit differently, finding the way that's effortless for us, because that reduces a lot of stress. So it's about how can we do that again in reality and how that gives us more energy to do more. Got a couple of little exercises around that as well, and you will end up with a plan to use so that the times when you do wobble and you're stressed, what you can do immediately, and the things that keeping you at your best. So as I say, the video, 1 hour and 40 minutes, it's a whistle-stop tour. There's a lot of information in there, so you can use the pause a lot of the time. It is just a flavour of what I do. Obviously, in-person training is a lot longer. We do a lot of exercises, a lot of discussions. We have a lot of talks around dilemmas. What are the questions and the things that we usually don't feel able to ask. And so we sort of raise some of them. Have a little look, see what you think, ask me any questions, and hopefully you'll find something useful out of it. Thank you.